Bandwidth for this podcast is brought to you by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com.
Welcome to MacBreak Studio. I'm your host, Brian Gary. Today in the studio, I've got After Effects rock star Steve Taylor. How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing awesome.
Good. You know, we get a lot of people who comment on our shows or send in questions, and they want to know that tried and true effect of either getting video inside of text or, pictures inside of pictures, but creative applications with that. How to actually make your version of that effect different than anybody else's. Mm-hmm. Can you show us how to do that inside of After Effects and make it look cool?
Well, I'll help you. The creative part is up to you guys.
Okay.
The After Effects provides a really great feature called Track Matte, which allows you to use an alpha channeled or black and white image to cut a hole for another image.
Okay.
So I'll show you a couple of comps here and show you how that works. In this composition, we have a piece of text, generic text, and an image of the Coliseum. Got that image from iStock Photo. And what we'll do here is we want to put this image of the Coliseum, this video, into the text and fill the text up with this image.
Okay.
Basically, there's a set of pull-down menus called Track Mattes here in After Effects. And what that does is that gives you access to these 4 commands. They are going to use the layer above your image to cut a hole. Mm-hmm. Now, it depends on what type of image you have. If it has an alpha channel, such as this text, that's what you'll use. You'll use an alpha channel. If it's a black and white image, which we'll show you in a second, that's what you'll use.
Now that was text you created inside of After
Yes, this
Effects.
is purely editable text, and we can edit it all we want, which is beautiful. It stays editable even though it's cutting a hole. Mm-hmm. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this Coliseum image and we're going to pull the track down menu down. And what it does is it gives you a couple of choices. Alpha matte text, if I choose that, you'll see that the Coliseum image is automatically in the text. Mm-hmm. And that's beautiful because both of these things are independent. You can change the text. If I want to change the text, I'll call up the text tool, and I'll just have it say, I'll just put in your name. Isn't that cool?
Wow, now I have the Coliseum in my name.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's what everybody wanted to do.
Yeah.
And what you're seeing here is the feature that each one of these layers is independent.
Right.
So you can move them independently or move them together.
So if I wanted the text in the center, I could move the Coliseum behind it and vice versa.
Yeah, you can move either one around. If I want to move the Coliseum and fill it in a little differently, I can do that. Okay. And since this is a piece of video, it's automatically filling in this video.
Right.
It's a great tool for when you want to have an image fill in another image. Let's say that you have a shape. I'm going to go over to this other piece here. And what you have here is I've got a couple of layers. I've got a matte layer and a hard edge. The edge is there just to cover up the square edges of the box.
Mm-hmm. Which would be your video.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If I want to fill this matte in with an image, I'm just going to grab an image here. We've got a Rome theme, so we'll just keep with that. Basically, I put it on the bottom layer, but I need to tell this layer to use the matte layer as a cutout. I'm going to have to turn on the switches here, which calls up the track mattes. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say, use the alpha matte of that box.
Right.
And now we've got an image inside a box, and we have total control of it. And the nice thing is it's completely controllable. I can scale this image as much as I want. If I hit the S key, I can scale that up or scale it down. I can move it around. I can keyframe all that stuff. If you wanted to parent these 3 layers, your image, your matte, and your hard edge together, basically I would grab the edge and the matte and parent those to the image. Now when I grab that, they're all together.
I see.
Yet still, adjustable. You can apply effects. If I turn off this hard edge layer, I can actually add effects to the matte layer. Let's just do a Gaussian blur here. You can actually blur the edge of your matte.
I see.
So you can apply effects to either layer, all independently controlled.
Now, from an editorial standpoint, what would make sense to you, or is this going case by case? Meaning, would I want to, let's say, like in that movie you showed me, you had several different pictures going on at the same time. Would you create each one of those individually, render them out, and then do that compositing in, say, Final Cut? Or would you do the whole thing, all the different pictures here in After Effects?
I would do them in After Effects because it just gives me control over each image. I can change the timings. It just gives you a lot more control. Then I would render that out as a movie to Final Cut.
Would you then use a camera to control the way, or static, or it just depends on the look you want?
If I want a 3D kind of look, if I want those boxes and those images to be in 3D space, I would use a camera to fly through, which would be another great lesson. Right. But if you don't have
that's two extras you're going to get later.
If you don't need any three-dimensional Z-space movement, which would be depth,
right,
then I would probably just keep them in 2D space and not even worry about a camera. Just simplify it.
Okay. So again, video inside of text, which has been around since time immemorial. The video toaster, I think, probably brought that in. Yeah. But it's, again, really easy to do. And then since this is After Effects text, I'm sure that, you know, any type of effect that you would apply to that text then gets, whether you're doing extrusions or 3D
blurs,
or all that kind of
all
stuff.
the kind of effects or filters you want to apply to either the matte layer or the image. Yeah.
Or doing other masking techniques like Steve showed you. Steve, thank you very much for coming in. And where can we find more cool tips and tricks like this for After Effects from you?
Well, I just finished a disc called After Effects Fast Forward, which is basically 11 lessons, basically showing how to use the tools in After Effects to create fun and exciting creative things. It's mostly for new users,
right,
or people that have not delved into it and are kind of afraid of it. I simplify the program and show the 20% of the features that really you could get most usage out of.
Yeah, I've been watching the first several of the episodes, and I have to say that, you know, even though everyone knows that I work with Ripple Training and everything, that your After Effects training spoke to me, because I'm one of those guys who has After Effects, but I only have it because I've got a couple of plugins. And so I know just enough to dive in, use those plugins, and get back out. And I feel like this is going to free me up to use it for more techniques and tips. So thank you for coming in to the studio. And thank you for watching MacBreak Studio. I'm your host, Brian Gary.